And sea trade is about 3,800 years. And I would like to ask a question from you. When you talk about history, sea trade originated from a country. Can I ask you which country? A wild guess. Vineet, my friend, sea trade, where it started from, 300, 800 years ago. India, like many other things. South India, it started through South India, taking cinnamon, pepper. It was called the incense route. Hugging the Indian coast, it went to Arabian Peninsula. And they didn't use the Red Sea, they used the land, they must have used camels. 1800 BC, before Christ. And they went to Petra, modern day Jordan or Israel. And they made it, that's Petra, the trading center. And today is also, it's very important now. Israel is the main focus. And during that time also, it had been very important. Mediterranean Sea. So from there, Egypt, Mesopotamia, that's Iraq, started trading. And then 300 BC, Alexander the Great conquered Alexandria. And that became the first warehouse in the world. Started trading from the Mediterranean Sea to the Indian Ocean. Spices were taken. And then Cleopatra's death in 30 BC, before Christ, just before Christ. And Roman Empire started expanding. And they came through Nile, came to a very important place, Axum. That was part of Egypt. They were champions of navigation. So Roman used that technology and started conquering around the world. And 250 AD, they made Constantinople the capital and started trading from the Mediterranean Sea to the Indian Ocean. It's flourished. Normally, it happens with conquering, the trade also takes place. 700 AD, pepper, silk, porcelain from China. And China started also trading. In 200 BC, they started trading tea for horses to Kazakhstan and that area. And then they started, for the first time, they traded with the horses. They started trading silk. They were very protective about silk, but they started for the first time trading silk. So the silk route started to the Arabic Peninsula. And then in 800 AD, Arabs started conquering vast areas in the Middle Asia. And they started manufacturing carpets, horses. And in 1000 AD, Europe, wood, honey, slaves. And slaves became one of the main commodities traded through sea routes. For a long time, slave trade was one of the main trading commodities up to, I think, 1800 AD, and it was abolished. And 1100 Crusade war started, and Romans started championing navigation. And from there, it's important, 1400 BC, where Portuguese started conquering part of America, and Spain started conquering part of Africa. They divided. They told Portuguese to go towards America, and the Spanish to go towards Africa. Then they started trading cocoa. Cocoa, chocolate was one of the famous commodities during that time. Slavery. And potatoes were found in South America. Chili, tomatoes. So these were traded. So from there, the Portuguese and Spanish were very powerful, 1500 AD. And then came the Dutch, English, and the French. And they were sailboats. So always the conquering and the trading went simultaneously. They went hand in hand. Conquering happened first, and then they started trading. And they started improving navigation as well. So then the sailing boats, from there, they found the Industrial Revolution in 1800 AD. Then the steam machine came, steam boats. So with the steam boats, British became very powerful. And they conquered almost half the world. And from there, we come to the present day. And next slide, please. Next one. This is during 1515th and 16th century, when Portuguese and the Europeans were very powerful. And the modern day routes. The next slide, please. And you can see vast areas, but it's the main area that we focus is the Indian Ocean, where 40% of trade and 60% of oil trade happens in this area. Next slide, please. So you can see in this small area, 38 countries, 44% world surface area, 65% world population, 62% world GDP, 46% world merchandise trade, 55% world container trade, 70% shipborne energy transport. So in such a small area, 65% world population and 62% world GDP. And you can imagine India is growing at 7.2. Sri Lanka is lagging behind, but we have brilliant potential to grow at 7.2, 7.5 with a benevolent leadership from our part of the world. And other countries also has potential, Pakistan, Bangladesh and other countries. So this population is our asset actually. A lot of European countries, Western countries are suffering because of the lack of population. Earlier, population was a hindrance to development, but now the population is the biggest asset for development. Next slide, please. And if you see the shipping, how it's taking place, billion tons, 2030, I'll come to 2025, it's about 68,000 billion tons. By 2030, 72,000. 2040, 78,000. 2050, 80,000. And you can see it's growing fast, but there's a dip also. Because there will be renewable energy. So a lot of bulk being traded, coal, oil. But with renewable energy, it will diminish. The fossil fuels might decrease in the future. So there will be less transportation in that area. Next, please. Importance of trade by sea. Ancient Silk Route, Maritime Spice Route. 80% of trade by volume, 70% by value. Bridge between nations. And the efficiency depends on the choke points. So that is what we are facing now. Hormuz Strait, the choke points get stranded and because of wars and conflict, then sea trade can be affected greatly. So Panama Canal, number 1. Strait of Gibraltar, 2. Can I have that slide, please? Global choke points. Thank you. Cape of Good Hope is number 3. Bosphorus Strait, number 4. Suez Canal, number 5. Bab-el-Mandeb Strait, Red Sea. 7th Strait of Hormuz. 8th Strait of Malacca. Next slide, please. So it shows these choke points bring a lot of value and volume. Next one, please. Can I have the Indian map? Yeah, that one. So Sri Lankan ports will be complementary for Indian ports. It's not a competition. We can actually grow with each other. I saw in an Indian news article saying that Indian ports might kind of bring down business in Sri Lanka. It won't happen. Because if you see Indian Exim cargo, ships won't call multiple ports, but retain hub and spoke model. So that's how we develop trade, because in Sri Lanka stand as the best connectivity index in South Asia at number 13. And if you improve the infrastructure, we can go to about number 10. And we are working on it. Next slide, please. And if you see the timeline, this is very important, this is very interesting as well. If you see the yellow line, by air, it's about 45 to 60 minutes. By sea, it's about 1 day or 1.5 days. So the blue line, it's around Indian Ocean, how connectable these areas are. 2 to 3 hours, the blue line, 2 to 3 days by sea. So the hours by flight, it's similar to days by sea. Very interesting. 10 hours by flight, then 10 hours by sea. Red one is 3 to 4 hours by time, 3 and 4 days. So it's within a short time, you can connect between the global corners. The next one, please. And India has 12 major ports, the coast, and 200 minor ports. 60% of oil and 40% of global trade happen around this area. Next, India port capacity utilization up to 2029 will be about 68% from current 72. Sri Lanka port capacity utilization up to 80% from 90. High capacity being added for forecasted growth in trade up to 2040, which will see well over doubling of volumes. And the next slide is very interesting. India container volumes could reach 70 to 75 million TEU, 20-foot container, 2040, and containerization increasing at 10% in India. Sri Lanka, it's 9 million at the moment, 2027, expecting to go up to about 15 million. And by 2040, 35 million, almost half of India. So Sri Lanka's ports, Hambantota port, Trincomalee port, and Colombo port is very vital. The main, actually, 3 ports around Sri Lanka connected to India. So I would like to, the last slide please, where you can be seen Sri Lankan map. The last slide please. This is the port we are expanding, Colombo. The next one. The next one please, next slide. So you can see, my point is that around Sri Lanka, we have the biggest wind tunnel. We can create about 60 gigawatt of power around Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka has the biggest wind tunnel. So if we produce about 20 gigawatts in Sri Lanka, through a transmission line, we can transport this to India. India uses about, I think, 250 to 300 gigawatts. It's a huge consumption. It's growing as well. Rapid growth at 7.2, and it will grow in the future. The minister was saying 4 trillion, the economy is going to go to 30 trillion. And with that growth, Sri Lanka has potential in supplying electricity to India at a very low cost. Its cost is almost competitive with all the other cheap electricity where it's produced, whether it's coal or anything else, it's the same. Sri Lankan, it's about 28 rupees. India, it's 1/4 of that. So Sri Lanka has the potential of producing this, and then you know what is happening in the world now. Oil is a huge problem, the Hormuz Strait being closed, and then we have issues in supplying oil to India. India is the biggest oil importer in the world. So with this sort of improvement, I think Sri Lanka and India working together, we can improve this region and work together and develop together. And it's a good friendship, and India will find Sri Lanka as a very good friend, and especially when it comes to security. India has a automatic sort of a barrier in the south with Sri Lanka. So with all this, I think working hand in hand, Sri Lanka and India and this region can grow together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Senasinghe, for joining us. We are going to quickly now also turn our focus to NXT in Green Energy for an address on the future of hydropower. I'd like to call on stage member of the Senate, Argentina, Honorable Senator Enrique Martin Gueling Lara. Welcome, Senator. Thank you for being with us.